Annibale Carracci will also paint loves of the gods, and this is among his most notable works. The murals that you see along the ceiling are arranged as framed easel paintings mounted on the ceiling, complete with frames and negative space in between. So there's space between the frames as if we're seeing the plaster ceiling through the gaps. Now, by integrating oil painting ideas with fresco, the artist reorients painting in Rome and Florence. The paintings themselves are modeled by an even light, which the sculptural elements of the frames are lit from below, thus accentuating the feel of framed art. The manipulation of light is really key here in increasing the theatricality of the paintings. And this is the loves of the gods. So we see some of these pieces as sometimes illicit affairs and sometimes acts of great love. For example, Pan and Diana here. And what you see is this very Renaissance image, a very even sort of light over the landscape, very simple landscape, reminiscent of the Sistine Chapel ceiling, but yet the figures seem to have more dimension to them, more modeling, because he's using more detail, incorporating texture as well as form, but also very dark shadows, very bright highlights, really increasing the way that we look at things, the way that we look at this. And what we see is a manipulation. What we see is the many aspects of love. Sometimes love is good or bad. Sometimes we see great fidelity in love. Sometimes we see an adulterous nature. Sometimes we see something violent or something particularly innocent. And he's using the gods to symbolize that. Greek mythology is something that people, at least the educated, would have been quite familiar with in the 17th century. And so they could look at this, they could identify these figures and identify their form of love. Is it lustful? Is it pure? What is it? And it's really sort of him creating a visual essay, doing so by using illusion. That idea that there are framed paintings mounted to the ceiling, all of the plasterwork there is painted. That's all trompe-l'oeil. So he's constantly fooling the eye, constantly making you question, and in the process, holding his audience in front of those paintings for as long as possible. This is going to make this a very powerful image and the sort of thing that people will explore for hours on end.